First, here are the results. Walker won an easy victory yesterday as he raked in votes in North Carolina in his race for the 6th congressional district. He won at last check 57% of the precincts reporting. His opponent, 28-year-old Ryan Watts, won 43% of those votes. All right, Representative Walker, thanks for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Had a long night last night.
Yeah, a little bit, yes. Not as long as some of our friends on the West Coast, but yeah, we're excited to be here and excited about the third opportunity to serve in this area.
Yeah, well, you won this election pretty decisively, campaigning on a record of experience. So talk about that and what you've been able to accomplish.
Well, I think experience is very important, Tracy, but I also think constantly working to build relationships, not the photo ops and things that you see sometime in the political arena, but actually spending time in our communities across the 6th district, which is most of central North Carolina now. That's important to me. And the other thing that's very important to me is this is our third election, and we've been blessed to never run a single negative ad. We think long term that matters, and we hope that people understand that we hope to be the representative for all of our communities, not just Republicans, not just independents or Democrats, but we're constantly concentrating on what we can do and what we can do to serve the people of this area.
Yeah. I'd like to expand on that point. You have reached across the aisle in your record to support HBCUs, to support Pell Grant expansions. Reaching across the aisle is going to be more important than ever, especially now that Democrats have control of the U.S. House. How do you plan to continue that momentum?
Well, I'm going to continue to do the same thing that we've done in the past, which means being intentional. You look for issues specifically in the area, whether they're economic issues, where there are concerns, as you mentioned, with HBCUs and Pell Grants. Those are very important. You can get to a place in Washington, D.C. where you're just coasting somewhere on the back bench, but if you're intentional, you think about the areas of need in your own community, I think you can resolve some things.
How do you find middle ground on some of those hot button issues like immigration and also health care? I know you've had a great record with jobs, and that seems to have passed a hurdle, but there's some other bigger issues in terms of immigration and controlling the border.
Right.
Securing, I should say.
Well, exactly. And those are two big issues. I think we'll see that in the lame duck session, which is between now and when the new Congress, the 116th, take over with the Democrats in majority. Those are sensitive issues, but I think it starts, Tracy, with trust, building relationships, because if you don't have something that you're genuinely connecting with someone, there's no foundation to build on. So what we try to do with people like Cedric Richmond and others, and talking about criminal justice reform or other areas of border security, listen, a lot of people, most people we think believe in border security, but there's got to be an interior component. We take in 1 million immigrants per year, which is a great number, but we've also got to make sure that we are shutting down the border when it comes to some of the human trafficking and drug trafficking we've seen over the last few years.
Another hot button issue that undoubtedly will come up as we head into the 2020 campaign is gun control, especially a driving force for a lot of the youth vote that we had seen. You are a supporter of the Second Amendment. At the same time, you've expressed that you would not necessarily be opposed to certain restrictions from judges for people who are deemed dangerous to themselves and to others. What is your plan as far as gun control?
Well, any kind of common sense approach I think is important to resonate and resolve some of the issues that we see in society. We don't want any kind of firearms or any kind of weapons to people that may have some serious mental health issues. However, there is a fine line there for people who are law-abiding citizens. You want to make sure you don't go to the place where you're infringing on their rights as well. I know that's very important to many North Carolinians. It's important to many Americans. So we want to say, where is that balance? Where is that line? It's very tricky sometimes to find the exact measure or the exact place of where you need to go, but we want to make sure we protect the rights of Americans, but also make sure that those who would endanger themselves or others do have some restrictions as well.
I think something that you've been able to do very well over the last few years is not only serve us in Washington, D.C., but also come home and see what people are talking about. What are people talking about when you talk with them?
Sure, yeah, we've never made our home in Washington, D.C. My wife works here locally at a hospital. I have 3 children. This is our home. This is our area, and I think we've only missed 2 weekends in the 4 years that we've been there. Wow. The issues are important. A lot of people we hear are excited about the small business growth, the rolling back of the regulations, the tax reform that we've seen. We hope that we can build on that. But as a fiscal conservative, and I hear this, and we should be responsible. In fact, the Democrats have talked about this. How do we control the deficit? How do we control the long-term debt that we don't leave that burden on our children and grandchildren to begin that bell curve of spending back to where it should be?
Right. Representative Walker, thank you for your time and congratulations to you. We look forward to speaking with you in the weeks ahead.
Yeah. Safe travels. I know you'll be here for the weekend.
Yes. Yeah.
And back to Washington you go.
Thanks, Megan. Thanks, Tracy.